Sean Diddy Combs, the ultimate rap mogul, a legend in the music world, and the name that inspired millions. Everyone loves him. Or do they? Because today, Diddy isn't just a star, he is a villain, a man accused, a man watched. Sitting under the government's sharpest eyes, claiming innocence in the face of crushing allegations. But did he do it? Why would he say he's being framed? What are these charges? And how far will he go to prove the system is targeting him? Sean Diddy Combs wasn't born into fame or fortune. He built this empire from scratch, clawing his way up with sheer determination and undeniable talent. Born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, Diddy started small, hustling as an intern at Uptown Records. Before long, he launched Bad Boy Records, his own label that changed the face of hip-hop forever. Diddy didn't just make hits, he made stars. Biggie Smalls, Mace, and Faith Evans, icons who became the heartbeat of the 90s rap scene. He was about the lifestyle, the extravagant white parties at his Hamptons mansion, where every A-list celebrity you could think of rubbed shoulders. From Jay-Z to Beyoncé, from Naomi Campbell to Usher, Diddy's friends weren't just celebrities, they were icons. But all of this glitz and glamour, just a facade for the cracks beneath. Because now, the house of Diddy is crumbling, the parties silent, the mansion raided. And Diddy? He's standing in custody, claiming innocence as his empire begins to quake. Once the king of hip-hop now stood in a spotlight he never wanted. The world wasn't applauding anymore. It was pointing fingers, questioning, and demanding answers. When exactly did it start? Who started the fire? What exactly happened? It all started subtly. A shadow here, a murmur there. But by late 2023, the floodgates burst open, drowning Diddy in accusations so damning that even his most loyal fans started to look at him differently. First case, Casey Ventura, the singer and model who had been in an on and off relationship with him over a decade. To the public, they were a glamorous couple. But Casey's lawsuit painted a horrifying picture, one that shattered the illusion of romance. She accused him of abuse so violently it left her with bruises, black eyes, and a broken spirit. She described freak-offs, drug-fueled parties, where women were forced into acts they didn't consent to. Diddy's network, she claimed, turned a blind eye, watching as their boss allegedly abused his power. There were stories of manipulation, threats, and even a bizarre incident involving rapper Kid Cudi's car, which was destroyed, just to keep him away from her. As if that wasn't enough, more women came forward. Anonymous lawsuits, named from decades ago, stories that spanned 30 years, each one more haunting than the last. One woman said Diddy and another man forced her into doing the act. Another alleged she was drugged and assaulted in 1991. And then there was Lisa Gardner, who claimed she and a friend were assaulted when she was just 16. Days after the attack, she said, Diddy allegedly choked her until she blacked out, terrified she might reveal what had happened. Each story was a crack in the facade, each lawsuit a blow to his legacy. But at the end of 2023, the lawsuits piled up. More than 20 civil suits, with accusations ranging from assaults to coercion, all filed just before the New York Adult Survivors Act expired. Attorneys made a public call for victims to come forward, and the response was staggering. Over 3,000 individuals reached out, with 120 new lawsuits on the horizon.
Diddy was seen beating his then-girlfriend Cassie in an LA hotel.
Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground.
They claim Combs had been holding a freak-off in his hotel room with the commercial worker.
In May 2024, CNN aired CCTV footage from a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. The grainy video showed Diddy pushing Casey to the ground, kicking her while she was down, dragging her by her shirt, and throwing something at her. The world watched in horror. This wasn't just hearsay of allegations. This was proof. The next day, Diddy broke his silence. "I take full responsibility for my actions in that video," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now."
The darkest times in your life, sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
But his apology couldn't erase the images burned into the public's mind. And yet, even with the video, Diddy's legal troubles weren't confined to his past relationships. In early 2024, Rodney Jones Jr., a music producer, filed a lawsuit accusing Diddy of grooming and unwanted advances. Jones claimed Diddy pressured him to engage in acts he wasn't comfortable with, presenting it as normal in the music industry. Diddy's lawyer dismissed the allegations, calling them a desperate grab for attention. But the damage was done. The stories were everywhere. Diddy stood amidst the storm, denying every accusation, insisting this was all a money grab, a coordinated effort to tear him down. But the walls were closing in. And yet, even as the allegations mounted, he refused to crumble. For every accusation, there was a denial. For every lawsuit, a counterclaim. The world waited, the courtroom buzzed. And Diddy? He stood there, defiant, as the shadows of his past threatened to consume him. When Casey Ventura stepped into the limelight with her explosive lawsuit, it was a shockwave no one could ignore. Combs, however, struck back, accusing Casey of extortion. Yes, the same man who apologized for the same matter. Within a day of the lawsuit's filing, the case was settled for an undisclosed amount. Combs maintained his innocence, calling her allegations baseless. The timing couldn't have been more coincidental. As accusations piled up, Combs' representatives brushed them off as a money grab. As December loomed, the weight of the lawsuits compelled Combs to break his silence publicly. He turned to Instagram, his tone both resolute and angry. "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character and destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." His lawyer, Sean Hawley, followed suit, dismissing claims from individuals like Rodney Jones Jr. as pure fiction, and alleging that the evidence would decisively disprove their allegations. But then came the bombshell, the CCTV footage. On September 16, 2024, in a dramatic turn of events, Sean Combs was arrested at a Manhattan hotel following a grand jury indictment. His legal team, trying to control the narrative, emphasized his cooperation with authorities and his voluntary relocation to New York in anticipation of the charges. "These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide," declared his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. Prosecutors accused Combs of leading a criminal enterprise spanning decades. These events, they alleged, were well planned, with hotel suites booked, prostitutes recruited, and a cocktail of drugs distributed to ensure compliance. Victims were left traumatized, blackmailed with footage of their participation, and silenced through fear. Prosecutors described an elaborate system designed to maintain Combs' dominance, a dark network of enablers who facilitated travel for victims, and even administered IV fluids to help them recover from the multi-day nightmares. Diddy pleaded not guilty, maintaining the parties were consensual, but his bid for bail was denied. Prosecutors highlighted his story of attempting to obstruct investigators and influence witnesses. The judge's decision cited Diddy's anger issues and substance abuse as significant risks. With that, he was remanded to Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center to await trial. Meanwhile, the allegations only grew. By October 1, 2024, attorney Tony Busby announced a staggering development. Over 100 individuals plan to file lawsuits. Of those, 120 were represented by Busby, half of whom were men, and 25 of whom were minors. The youngest victim claimed to have been only just 9 years old. As the legal battles raged, Combs' team argued that the leaks, particularly the damning footage, were calculated moves to tarnish his reputation and undermine his defense. But the court of public opinion seemed already swayed, hanging on every new revelation in a scandal that only seemed to deepen with each passing day. Judge Aaron Subramanian rejected a gag order request, while throwing a little shade at everyone involved. The message was clear: no leaks, no games, and no compromising a fair trial. While the judge admitted that there was no evidence, yet, that anyone broke the rules, federal agents were quick to deny any involvement in leaking certain explosive materials. But Diddy was pointing fingers. The most likely source of the leak is the government, he claimed. The courtroom buzzed as Judge Subramanian ordered federal prosecutors to destroy 19 pages of handwritten notes seized from Diddy at the MDC Brooklyn Detention Center. Apparently, the government should never have had them in the first place. Diddy, who's been stuck behind bars without bail, entered the courtroom flashing a broad smile. His first appearance without ankle restraints. The defense scored a small victory, convincing the judge to let Diddy remain unshackled during proceedings. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo went on the offensive, holding up pages where Diddy had scribbled the word "legal." Virtually everything in these notes is about matters he discussed with his attorneys, Agnifilo declared. This is a complete institutional failure. But prosecutor Christy Slavic wasn't having it. Quote unquote, "Just writing legal on something doesn't make it privileged," she shot back, pointing out that the government got the materials through legitimate means. Things got even more dramatic when the prosecution hinted at something darker, suggesting the note referenced potential witness payments. The judge, however, made it clear those notes wouldn't influence bail decisions. Diddy's team isn't just fighting the charges, they're accusing the government of playing dirty. They claim there's been a strategic campaign to leak grand jury materials, including a 2016 Intercontinental video, to tarnish Diddy's reputation. This has stirred public hostility against Mr. Combs before the trial even begins, they argued. But when the defense team gripped about unnamed sources and media reports, Judge Subramanian didn't bite. The stories, he said, didn't contain specific details from grand jury proceedings, which remain confidential. In a letter to the court, Diddy's attorneys pleaded for their client to have access to a laptop in his detention unit, just like other inmates. These restrictions are untenable, they wrote, adding that even privileged communications between Diddy and his lawyers had been monitored. This isn't just about handwritten notes or laptops. Diddy's legal team argued that the government's actions violated his constitutional rights under the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments. And just when you thought things couldn't get more intense, the judge took a jab at the media circus. The government's case will be decided in court, not in a trial by newspapers, he declared. Despite all the drama, the court has once again denied Combs's bail, but he stood firm, pleading not guilty to every charge. His legal team remains optimistic, stating, "The truth will prevail. Mr. Combs has never assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman." As for the trial, it is set for May 2025. The clock is ticking, and the stage is set for one of the most gripping courtroom battles we've seen in years. But what do you think? Will Diddy's claims of innocence hold up in court? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out other videos on the channel.